effect on our shellfish, and now, as it's turning out, just about everything is threatened by it. In 1950, there was a 2-year warming trend that caused a big bump in the noticeable damage created by these crabs. And as you may well remember, 2 years ago, we had another, back in 1950. It was the first time that they associated the real damage with the warming water. 2 years ago, we had 2 years of warm current in the Gulf. These critters are a threat to every resource, but more importantly, I was there as a stakeholder for our shellfish committee. There's talk about markets, there's talk about recipes, there's talk about a lot of things, but the bottom line is unless the committee voluntarily starts doing something to knock the numbers down of the larger adult crabs, we could experience what's happening in southern parts of the state with the shellfish and their habitat being wiped out. They not only eat little baby clams, they eat little baby anything. They clip eelgrass right off at ground level. They burrow in under tidal flat areas and then cause a accelerated erosion as a result. So the state knows that this is potentially a disaster waiting to happen. And they were honest in saying they don't have the money to throw at this problem. So it's on our lap to do something. We can't worry about everybody else. We got to worry about our clammers. The 18th, we had a shellfish committee meeting. I reported back to my committee. Dennis Nault, the DMR rep for our region, attended our meeting, and he accepted our request for a town permit for trap and destroy. And wherever this goes, right now it's voluntary. There's companies out there looking to make money off on the design of their traps or even lease you their traps. And this is not anything where it's a resource that you're attempting to manage. Whereas with lobster, half of the gear that goes on a lobster trap is to allow the little lobsters to get out, so you're only trapping a certain size. In the case of eradication or trap and destroy, it is designed to catch and keep the crab. And everybody says, well, what if you get a lobster in there? Well, that would be by catch. You would release the lobster if there was anything left of the lobster in there. These things are voracious, tough. I heard some pretty horrifying stories of many years ago. One guy caught a dump truck load, took him out in the woods, dumped him. He didn't kill him. Well, they were seen walking 2-3 miles away from the site.
Yeah, correct.
One trapper had them in a bucket for 2 months. They were still alive.
Yeah.
So, they're pretty resilient and hungry, and they're going to cause problems here. So, I will report back with more information after the next Shellfish Committee meeting to see who we can get interested in actually doing some of the trapping. Along with this will be a request from the Shellfish Committee to put the crabs that we catch on a piece of town-owned land for composting. But they, well, it's not pretty, but you crush them.
Correct.
You can, you know.
Would they be any good for fertilizer?
Yes, they're very good for fertilizer, and that's why we'd like to put them on town-owned land, because we'd be making our own compost. So, John and I had talked about, because of the information that came from GEI and Todd regarding the brownfield cleanup, they had asked about a site where we could do some of this soil aeration. And so that would be a site which would be similar to this, and maybe right next to that we could have a spot to put these crabs. If a market appears, we can change the nature of the trap, the permit for trapping, and maybe make some money. If the shellfish is doing it, it makes sense to let the shellfish take the profits from whatever market they could create to put back into the shellfish account for buying seed and doing other conservation work that we do each year that's essential to keep our resource alive. We have already been working hard against the moon snail, which predates on clams. And now we've got the green crab. So that's my report as to what the Shellfish Committee has been doing regarding this. The Green Crab Summit is online, I understand. I think it's through the University of Maine. And it was a long day. I was accompanied by our reporter and town resident, John Rule, who found it as interesting as I did. The only thing they missed out on is they could have fried up or boiled some green crab right there and asked people to try it as far as food, which I think would have sent a lot of people home saying, hey, you know what, let's go out and catch these things, we can eat them. But they just fell short of that. I mean, it's a minor criticism, but with the severity of the issue, if there are markets in other parts of the world that they're eating them, right, why don't we try to eat them here?
I know one of the things that Dennis Null mentioned is I guess there's a company in the Carolinas that's looking for 35,000 pounds of these things a week for cat food.
Right.
Wow.
Well,
I mean,
as I said, the main concern is knocking down your numbers.
Right.
If the market appears, fine, but we can't wait. If we sit on our hands, we're going to have shellfish flats that are decimated, like what's happening down south. Those guys are up in arms. So let's get one step ahead of the game on it here.
yeah, Dennis did say that he was going to send me the contact information for that company.
That would be cool. That'd be interesting.
The other
to
thing,
hear.
like I mentioned to Dennis, is, we've been talking to people about, what can we do to get businesses to Lubec. We talked to Brian Mulligan. David Burns has been an asset for us. If it's a possibility to create jobs, can we do something like that here? And, could Brian Mulligan from the Department of Economic Development, could they come in and help out?
Well, folks, we were just talking about a new business that came into town. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. That's what they do.
Right.
So if we're catching crabs, and they could say, hey, that truck's going, crush them. Hey, come on, stop here. Let's just see if that works. But we can't plan it to be, well, when we have a market, we'll start doing it. No, we got to start doing it now.
Right.
And in case anybody's wondering about if it's difficult to trap these things, just about anything.
Robin Seeley put something up just today. It's available on the
Robin Hadlock Sealy.
Robin Hadlock Seeley, PhD. She put on it's on Facebook on the Lubec Community Discussion Board. Okay, it's available and it can be had other places.
Okay.
What they did, they put a lobster trap under 40 feet of water just off of Freeport with a camera. And in an hour and a half, this lobster trap was filled with green crabs. And it looked very much like a 1950s era horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like you would have seen the
Yeah.
creature from
Yes.
the depths. And it's there for anybody. If you don't think that these things can be caught, you can look at that video.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take any bait or anything? for
Pretty
the
much.
crab?
They use bait.
They use
Yeah,
bait.
bait.
Well, anything.
Yeah.
There's
They
a
were
lot of
actually hoping to catch
YouTube.
lobster, but they got all.
Yeah.
But they were in 40
Right.
feet of water.
Oh yeah, when we did the 24-hour test trapping, we were instructed to go out at low tide
Yeah.
and just put it so that the trap would stay under. I mean, you really only needed about 10 feet of buoy line. And then go back out and get it 24 hours later, and we didn't have full traps, but we had traps with, I think our numbers were somewhere around under 2,000 for 10 traps in 24 hours.
Oh my God.
Right.
And did you get any moon snails out of curiosity? Because I used to pick up a lot of moon snails lobster. I always
Yeah,
thought they were big
no.
furry wrinkles.
Yeah.
But come to find out, they were.
Yeah, no, we didn't. So that's one report I have. The second report is Harbor Board is meeting and continuing on the preparing to send out billing for the cycle of the year when the mooring fees run out. Mooring application fee runs out. We discussed the progress on the grant work for the town dock facility.
I wanna let you into on, I was talking to a few fishermen, and some of them are concerned about boats coming from westward up here, just dropping the drag over the backs, setting on the mooring. They're up, catching up what there is to catch up here. Some of them was curious about mooring costs, if mooring for the season would be, $1,000, $1,500, something like that for the season.
That would only
That
be
would
for
GPS.
non-resident boats.
And some of the fishermen really seem to be coming on board with it because they are aware of, in this area, if you can come here and fish. And I'm not trying to put anything on the town, on the fishermen, because we discussed it, that is different than anywhere else. A lot of places that you go down the shore, I bet Pete's quite aware of, so a lot of these places, you go into these coves, the first fellow you meet is the anchor master, and he is the one that says you will set here, set there, do this, and write that check out to who.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I told 2 or 3 of the fishermen to try to get in touch with the rest of the fishermen and look at the issue at hand, because you come up here, get wrapped up with the harbor board, find out what's going on, and be part of it, and then something most certainly can be
Yep.
in place.
Yep.
I mean, and that's one of the things is, I really like to reiterate to the fishermen, I mean, use that harbor board as a tool. I mean, they're your friends, I mean,
Right.
don't look at it
And
as
the
an us
harbor
and them.
master.
Yeah, look
Well-
at the harbor board and the harbor master as, they wanna regulate this area for,
And the other thing, would come across the table too, as we was talking, they said about like down here, for example, the winch on the commercial pier, it's been breaking down some, right? Well, if there was well, I understand that, but if there was a decent amount of income coming in, who says you couldn't have one on each end?
Well, that's what's
If
supposed
one
to pay
broke
for it.
down,
You're right, you're right.
If one broke down, then there was another winch there, because they have a certain amount of days, and when they can go urchining the same day that they can go scalloping, they have to come back, drop one drag, pick up another drag, hook
Right.
that all up, and
Yeah.
then go again.
That's why there's 8 drags on the pier right now.
Right, and some folks do drop the drags over the side, but if
Yeah,
you've
they
got,
buoy it.
if you've got thousands of dollars wrapped up in the drag, and somebody knows that, that drag really catches a lot of whatever, you make a bet that it could be gone. So they really are kind of like cautious on that side of things. So that was an idea, and there was a few glimmers in some eyes when you started thinking like, there could be 2
Yeah.
lifts instead of 1, and
Yeah.
it would be all paid for. And
Yeah.
so, that's the thing it's gonna take to,
I'm glad you pointed that
Yeah,
out, Jim. There was
started.
a big flurry of activity shortly before the season started.
Mm.
Everybody prepping their boats, changing their, getting their A-frames
Mm.
on and that. And I understand that I've heard through the fishermen that we've basically, this region has hosted over 130 fishing boats.
right,
And it makes you wonder what the hell could be left on the bottom after 130 boats get done
Right.
dragging it. I mean, it's scary.
well, what the thing is a lot of people don't realize, is the water here is so rich with plankton, and that's the way it's been all through the Bay of Fundy. That's why you have the whales, that's why you have the herring, that's why mackerel run, that's why you get so many different species here, because of the resource that is so rich. The waters, the fresh waters, the ice cold water mixing with the warm water that comes up the Gulf, it all works in together, and things grow extremely fast here, and it's been proven up here in the Bay. Nobody wanted to shut Whiting River down, for example, for scalloping, because, that was so many days taken out each year of their livelihood that they had to cut back on. But now, I've heard things like they've gone up to drag for the limit scallops, it's like 52 minutes, and they've got what they need for the scallops on the boat done. By the time they get the shockers, they're at 2.5 hours, they've got $1,300 to $1,500 made. One day. So it really is quite a comeback if it is managed. And I mean, not too far down the shore, not naming any towns, you can't get a mooring. You can't use what used to be a public way to the shore. Yeah, Pete.
Peter,
Just one thing, the fact that we're on television.
Oh.
You talked about the crane down there.
Hmm.
We've had a lot of problems with people breaking that switch,
Oh,
the
yeah.
key switch,
Yep.
and forcing the thing to be shut down for days on end. And I wish the people down there, if anybody, if a fisherman or anybody sees this going on,
Yeah,
tell the harbor master
Mm.
or tell somebody, and, because that's got to be stopped.
right.
We
I
spent a
agree.
hell of a lot of money
Yep.
Yeah.
keeping that thing going when
Yes.
it's
I
been
agree.
purposely damaged.
I'd like to see,
by
I'd
somebody.
like to see a camera or something set up down the road,
Right.
money wise, and I don't care if there's 2 or 3 that have just zoned in just on that, not so
Yeah.
much of
That's
anybody
been
around,
discussed.
but right there.
Yeah.
Because we've had vandalism in the past on different things, and
Right.
we were lucky enough to get somebody on Smiley or on Candid Camera, and it does work nice
Yeah.
when it's done.
Well, I appreciate your comment. I think that it's important that we keep in mind that in order for the fishermen to attend some form of meeting with the harbor board and the harbor master, it's gotta work for them.
Mm.
So, if we know what a general time would be, when they be home after they get done, and they, can relax and then come to a meeting and we can all hash this thing out and see what can be done. It's all part of our responsibility as a town and the harbor board to manage and steward our resource. And
Right.
Lubec can't be a free ride,
Right.
and
that's
we're
true.
pretty much at getting a reputation,
Right.
and that's why we got 130 boats here, okay? Yeah, they're gonna still come here, but we should, for the
They're
time,
going to pay.
they
So,
should pay.
They're gonna pay
Everybody wants to
something.
pay their membership
You
fee
can't go
fairly.
anywhere else.
Right.
And stuff's being destroyed. Somebody's coming,
Right.
it's not a taxpayer, they're
Nope.
using this, they're using that.
I'm not blaming the out-of-towners for that.
No,
No, I ain't, no, but I mean using,
Yeah.
I mean,
When's the next meeting, Mike?
The next harbor board meeting, I think, was January 22nd. January 15th. The next shellfish committee meeting is January 22nd.
Time is the harbor board.
Well, we've changed the hours of the harbor board meeting again because we've been able to get 2 fishermen on our harbor board. So we changed it to 7 p.m. On Wednesday night.
Third Wednesday of the month.
Third Wednesday of the month, 7 p.m. here at the town office. And that's for the harbor board and any fisherman that has an interest in what's going on with the harbor board.
Or anybody.
Or anybody. It's open to the public. They're all,
Public meeting.
listen, that door is never locked, so you got a right to stick your nose in up here. Better if you've got an issue.
And the fish, and the shellfish?
Shellfish is, well, again, we used to set that by tide, so that it would always coincide with a high tide, therefore, clamor has an excuse, or a committee member has an excuse, I couldn't come because I was taken, right? So, but those have been changing because in the winter, in the evening, it's dark. So, we set that one at 6 p.m. I'll have to check. And we're sorry if we had missed getting a couple of those meetings on the website. We will catch up with that and update the website for those meeting dates.
Okay.
We also have the CPG Town Improvement Committee, will be meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Right. Rain or
Any
shine.
other meeting updates?
I have, I'm sorry, Sheriff.
Go ahead.
I see we have John Ennis with us, and I thought John was our representative to Washington County Council of Governments. He is. Do you have a report?
I would like to, have Washington County Council of Governments update on, for our next agenda. We met last week, or the week before, and they just sent out, and I sent it to everyone, about the water quality training that will be held in Machias next month. So anybody that might be interested, you only have to drive to Machias.
Yay.
Does the water company know about that?
I
They
don't
do
know.
now.
Because that's
Right.
something that they should be involved in too.
Right.
John, can you contact
Oh, yeah,
them?
yes.
Contact
Water company,
Which reminds
Mike-
me,
Mike Lubec or Amber Baker,
Hmm.
and then your
I
board
can't
members.
remember what the date is.
I thought it was the 9th.
I think it's,
I emailed everyone.
Right.
send it to
Um,
you, so.
I wanted to go back to something that was pertinent to the Green Crab Summit, which I said was in Orono. And that is, I had tried really, really hard, and I really wanted chair of our Shellfish Committee, Bob Barney, to attend that meeting. For several reasons, he was unable to. But he had told me that if he could have sat up here in the town office and at least watched it with a teleconference video thing, he would have done that. And I think it's time that Lubec takes a step into the future. We've talked about this before, with an increase in the technology that we're using, to make it so that a lot of these trainings that our employees take, and